All right, what's up, guys? It's Cam back with another video, and today we have Aaron.
Hello?
Yeah, so Aaron, we're going to be talking about our experiences in Qatar at the Asian Cup. We went a few weeks, it's February 26th, so we were there like a month ago for a few weeks. We went to 13 different matches, and we're going to just give you guys our experience on some of them and just review the cup as a whole. Um, So Group A, we didn't go to any of these matches. Of course, we went to a Tajikistan game later, but Aaron, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so obviously you got the eventual champions Qatar and Tajikistan who made their debut. They had a really good tournament and um yeah, kind of if you go back to our like prediction video, I was pretty high on Tajikistan, but they ended up pulling through and I think a lot of that also had to do with China and Lebanon being very underwhelming, I think.
Yeah, so you picked Tajikistan, you picked Qatar to finish first, which they did. You picked Tajikistan in second and China third, Lebanon fourth. You nailed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely nailed it. Tajikistan, impressive call there. What did you think when we saw them in person?
Yeah, so we saw the round of 16 Tajikistan UAE game, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, that was really entertaining. And I think yeah, Tajikistan nearly won it in regulation, but UAE tied it late. And I think overall Tajikistan deserved to win. They missed a lot of chances, but yeah, they're the better team.
Absolutely. The UAE was not as strong as before. They made the semifinals in 2019, but we went to this game and we went to the Iran UAE game, which we'll talk about later, and they didn't look like the better team in either of those games.
I agree, yeah. UAE were very disappointing, I guess, for their standards this time.
Yep. So yeah, as we said, we didn't excuse me, we didn't go to any of these. So not too much to say, but of course Qatar winning all three and they finished with 9 points. Um, I said, oh, I said China in first. Okay, I got this all mixed up. Okay, yeah, okay. I didn't know what was going on. I was a little bit disappointed in China and Lebanon. China, of course, didn't score a goal in the tournament, so yeah, they just didn't show up. Um,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
yeah. Overall, it's one of the weaker groups, I think, just because of how bad China and Lebanon were.
absolutely. And then we got Group B, which ended up being more interesting than I would have thought. Australia, Uzbekistan, Syria, and India. We went to Australia and Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought that was a fun game. I mean, it was I think Australia just needed a draw to get first place, and so they're kind of playing for a draw. And I think Uzbekistan were, I don't know, they were trying to win, but overall, yeah. Apparently, that penalty that Australia scored was a bit sketchy, or like many people thought it wasn't a penalty, but I think a draw overall was pretty fair
Yeah,
in
they
that
were
one. Yeah.
for sure. I think with the penalties at the Asian Cup and then especially in the final, they were being pretty generous. I can't even like Iran, Qatar, Iran got a penalty that was like pretty generous. So I mean,
Oh yeah.
uh, it's just, they were anytime they went to the VAR to like look at it, I don't know if they never gave a penalty. I think every single time they gave a penalty in the games that we watched.
Yeah, it
Like,
just once they
yeah,
check it, you kind of know that they're just gonna overturn the original call. So
yeah, for sure. And then of course Syria put up a good fight in this group to tie Uzbekistan and barely lose to Australia. And then let's take a look at our predictions. So we said,
sure.
okay, Aaron nails it again. Let's see, did I say that? Okay, we both nailed it this time. So
Nice.
that was good.
Nice.
Excellent. And then we'll talk about Syria later because we did go to the Syria-Iran game.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so we have Iran, UAE, Palestine, Hong Kong. We ended up going because I'm an Iran fan. We ended up going to a lot of Iran games. Iran,
Yeah.
Hong Kong, of course, being the first game of the whole tournament we went to. Um, and then Iran, UAE being we also went to that game.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Aaron, on this group?
Yeah. The Iran Hong Kong game was a lot closer than I thought.
Yep.
Iran were in control, but they only scored one, which was surprising. And
Yep.
then Iran UAE, I mean, Iran dominated that game. It should have been like 4-1 or something like that. But yeah, the UAE were just really awful in that game, and honestly in the whole tournament. So
Yeah.
uh, but yeah,
In the
you're the Iran fan, so you should talk more about it.
quickly on the on the group stage, I mean Iran UAE, we had one goal that was taken. We scored. It was offsides because of Gholizadeh's elbow. We had one goal that was actually well offsides, which was Azmoun, and then we had
Oh, that's right.
one
Yeah.
goal with Mohebi that he scored, but he apparently ran into a guy like 30 seconds before, and that got called back. And then the UAE had a penalty, so that was just VAR gave that. That was just like a tough stretch for Iran. You know, they had
Did they
some.
have a penalty? I thought it was just a regular goal, I think.
They had the the one Bayron Van saved.
Oh, the save. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's right.
I mean, you're right. It didn't affect the game. We shouldn't. It didn't change anything. But anyway, it's just
Iran were deserved winners in that one for sure.
yeah. Hong Kong was actually good, to be honest with you. Like we were really bad, but Hong Kong was pretty good in that game.
Yeah. Honestly, Hong Kong were surprising, and then obviously Palestine were
Yeah,
quite impressive. I mean, that first game was a bit rough, but
yeah. I
after
mean,
that, they did really well.
yeah, totally agree. I mean, that game versus Palestine, we put in guys like Hayedi, which played extremely well, who played extremely well, and we scored quickly against Palestine in the second minute, the 12th minute, and then in the 38th. So that's like you 3-0, and they're just settling in. So
Yeah.
they played really well against the UAE. They played really well against Hong Kong, and they even led Qatar for a bit in that game. And we'll talk about the round of 16 game later, but they did lead. Um, and then prediction wise, Aaron, let's see. Uh, oh, I picked Hong Kong to finish third. Oh,
Oh,
okay then. Excellent. Not an excellent call, but
I'll take 3 for 3.
yeah, you're killing it, bro. Oh, this is one of our favorite groups. Iraq,
Oh yeah.
Japan, Indonesia, Vietnam. We got in the day before Iraq, Japan, that night before, so we couldn't go to this game, but we did actually try to get tickets. But we watched or we tried to no, no, what was it? We watched most of the game and then we like fell asleep or
Yeah,
something.
jet lag hit us in that one.
Yeah. Um,
But we saw the goal, so that
yeah.
was all that mattered.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this group and everything?
Yeah, obviously this one was the big surprise of the group stage, I think. Well, yeah, probably the biggest one, but
Mhm.
there were a couple others. But yeah, that Iraq Japan game was definitely a crazy game. And then
Mhm.
um yeah, so something was a little off with Japan this tournament. I'm not sure why, but yeah,
I think that's pretty well said. Even in the game that they won 4-2, they were down 2-1 in the 45th minute.
yeah,
I mean, if Vietnam had held it together, until halftime, it would have been an interesting scenario. But of course, Japan got two, and the game kind of changed. But um, we went to Japan, Indonesia for this
we
game.
did. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that was,
yeah,
Indonesia put up a good fight, I think. It was like Japan was in control and it was a comfortable win for them, but overall, Indonesia finished third. They made it to the round of 16 and really good tournament for them.
yeah, and as you were talking about before, like what happened to Japan, they were beating teams like Jordan, 6-1, I believe, before the start of the tournament. Um,
Yeah.
we thought the Indonesia game before was going to be like 8-1 or something, honestly, but
Yeah,
um,
because Indonesia was looking pretty bad as well before the tournament. So, but it seems like none of that matters once the tournament starts.
yeah, that's the Asian Cup for you. Everything changes, but
Yeah.
yeah, and then Iraq finishing off against Vietnam with that late penalty to win it. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Painful tournament for Vietnam.
yeah, but of course, I think Vietnam can take away some positives that they're competing against Iraq and Japan. It's like there's
Oh
something
yeah,
to
for
build
sure.
on there. The loss to Indonesia was not good because that's a oh
Yeah,
boy,
that's
what was that part of Asia called? Is it Asia or something?
Southeast Asia.
What's the yeah?
ASEAN, yeah, ASEAN. I don't
Okay,
know if it's pronounced like how
yeah,
it's spelled or just letters, but yeah, it's the Southeast Asia region.
yeah. So they're kind of rivals, I guess, right? If so,
Yeah.
yeah. So tough loss for Vietnam there, but good on Indonesia, man, to make it through.
Hmm.
Oh, and then our okay, hold on. Let's see 1 second. None of us got this group, I don't think, but
No,
almost. Oh no, I'm not even remotely close. Never mind. Um,
I'm pretty sure I did the same. So
oh wow. Yeah, I mean, looking back on it, I still can't disagree. Like, I think we made some right calls, but
yeah, I don't
um,
think you can blame us for picking the group like that, but
yeah.
the next group's going to be pretty interesting as well.
We got Group E: Bahrain, Korea, Jordan, and Malaysia. Of course, you're a Korea fan, so this is your group to talk about, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Korea's Asian Cup, but yeah, that's just the result of Klinsmann ball, and we started out well against Bahrain, but then yeah, we did not do well against Jordan, and then later on we lost to them in the semis, and that was not even close.
Yeah.
And then we tied Malaysia, which was pretty bad. I mean, there's no disrespect to Malaysia, but a 3-3 draw is pretty poor. So
And we were at the Jordan and Malaysia, the Jordan Korea Malaysia game. So, what is your thoughts on those two games? Being there in person, at least.
oh yeah, yeah. So we were at the Korea Jordan game, and uh, yeah, the atmosphere was like a Jordan home game. So
Mhm.
that definitely helped motivate the Jordan fan players, and um, yeah, they just kind of dominated the first half, and then Korea came back in the second and maybe could have won, but I think overall a draw was pretty fair there. And then yeah, we were at the Malaysia Korea game as well, and that was just a crazy game. So
Yeah, I totally agree. The Jordan atmosphere, their fans were wild. I mean, we have videos, that there's people with drums like right next to us screaming. So very festive atmosphere. And then the Malaysian one, obviously, Korea was up, 1-0, and then Malaysia got that goal, and then Malaysia got the penalty like 10 minutes later. Um,
yeah,
and then, from there was a lot of Korean attacks. Um, I
yeah,
mean,
we
that
had
was
about like 20 corners and like I don't know, there's
yeah,
just
that was crazy.
then we took the lead and then still somehow conceded in the 105th minute. So
Yeah, as we were saying there in person, it was a really interesting scenario where Korea was up 3-2 and they were first place in the group, but they were still attacking. And, respect to you guys for not trying to waste time or anything. You guys were playing like you guys were down 3-2,
yeah,
which,
I mean,
yeah,
ultimately we avoided Japan, but I don't like if you're at the game, you could tell like we were trying to score, we were trying to win,
exactly.
and when that last ball went in, it was just like yeah, we were just in shock, honestly. Couldn't
Yeah.
believe it happened, but
So Bahrain finished in first. Aaron, you had Bahrain in last. Fair enough.
yep.
Korea in first, Jordan, Malaysia. I Okay, not too different to be honest with you. Yeah, Bahrain wasn't even like when they lost 3-1 to Korea, you didn't think there was a way for them to win the group, but they beat Malaysia in the 90 plus 5 minute and then they beat Jordan. So give them credit, I guess.
Yeah, I guess
I
so.
guess. This group, I don't think we went to any games in this group, but
No, we didn't.
yeah. Um, Aaron, you have any thoughts on this group?
Yeah, so Saudi topped the group, and they just didn't really look too convincing to me. And then Thailand surprisingly got second over Oman and Kyrgyzstan. And yeah, I think Oman had a disappointing tournament, and then Thailand had a really positive tournament. So it was overall an interesting group.
Yeah. Of course, we'll talk about Roberto Mancini a little bit later in his what do you call it, his theatrics after the Korea game or in the
Oh
middle of the
yeah,
Korea
yeah,
game. But good for Thailand, not allowing a goal. They played pretty well. I think in what was it, 2018 qualifiers, they were a final round competitor, I think.
yes, I think you're right. Yeah,
So they're a solid team. Um, Let me see. So we got Saudi, Oman. I had Saudi, Oman, Thailand, Kyrgyzstan,
I probably had the same thing honestly.
Saudi, Oman,
Oh, I had Thailand in last. Okay,
Uh,
that was interesting.
Kyrgyzstan, though, I think what was it? They had a good game or something. They were doing okay, right? Right
They
before.
weren't bad. I think they got a bunch of injuries right before the tournament. And then I also think Thailand had a bunch of injuries. So it was kind of like I just thought it was going to be Saudi Oman, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened to Oman.
Yeah, Oman. We were watching that Oman Kyrgyzstan game, and it was not too exciting, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Um,
that result qualified Indonesia over Oman. So
Yep. So out of the third place teams, interestingly, we had Jordan, Palestine, Syria, Indonesia. Let's just see what we had. Malaysia, Vietnam, Syria, China was what you had.
pretty
Okay.
off there.
Geez. I had Qatar, Syria, Vietnam, and Bahrain.
I mean, that just shows how unpredictable the Asian Cup is, I think.
So let's see. So just talking about your predictions, I'm trying to see if anything you did predict Tajikistan, UAE. Um,
I predicted yeah, oh yeah, I predicted that matchup, but I thought it would be too much for Tajikistan to make it to the quarterfinals, even though I really did want to pick them there, but
yeah.
then they actually won, so
So we were, yeah, as we talked about, we were at that game. It went two penalties. That was a classic game that started at like was it 7, 8 p.m. and we didn't get home until like midnight,
yeah.
um, but it was fun. It was fun atmosphere. A lot of people were rooting for Tajikistan in our area, kind of.
Yeah. And they're
Uh,
like the UAE section was loud, obviously, because they had more fans, but there are a lot of neutral Tajikistan fans. So
um,
that was fun.
yeah. Of course, the first game of that day was Australia, Indonesia, which we did not go to. Um,
Yeah.
but that's good for us because it wasn't too interesting, apparently. But
Uh-huh.
um, okay, so then our favorite
Then
game,
the game of the tournament,
the
probably
game of the
Jordan,
two.
Iraq. What a
Oh
game.
my goodness, what a game. That was 2:30 start. So Iraq, of course, goes down 1-0 to Al Naimat, and he had that goal right before halftime. They come back and they get two, and this guy right here, Ayman
Ayman
Hussein.
Hussein gets sent off right
Uh,
after the goal for his celebration.
Aaron, what are your thoughts on the game, though?
Yeah, so obviously that red card was a turning point in the game, I think, because yeah, I mean Hussein got sent off for it was kind of like a mix of excessive celebration and also time wasting. It's hard to tell whether that yellow card was justified, but I'm not going to get really into that.
Mhm.
But afterwards, Iraq still had a 2-1 lead, and they did not do a good enough job of defending that lead. And so, yeah, I mean, you can't concede two injury time goals like that.
Yeah,
So Jordan fully deserved that win, I think. And yeah, it was just absolutely crazy when that last goal went in. We just our section went crazy because we were with a bunch of Jordan fans.
yeah, well said. Of course, there was that one poor Iraqi next to us who was just,
Right.
he didn't say anything the whole time. It was kind of, at halftime when they were down, he was sad and then he was excited and they were about to win, but then they let up two goals and everybody around him was just celebrating. But obviously,
Yeah,
Jordan, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I just want to point out that after the game, the Iraqi fans, they're obviously very disappointed, but you know, they were all fairly nice and respectful even after the loss. So that was good to see.
Yeah, that's well said. What a game. of course, the referee was a Australian but an Iranian born referee, so that created some drama throughout the tournament. But we don't need to get into that. Just something to note.
Yeah.
Um, Second game of the day was Qatar and Palestine. I didn't really watch that one, so if you have any
I,
thoughts, feel free.
I just saw. I think I saw the Palestine goal. Then, oh yeah, I saw the first half, but I did not really watch the second half. Um, but yeah, Palestine put up a really good fight, and I thought it was quite unfortunate that they lost this game. And up until that point, Qatar hadn't been very convincing, and even in this game, they weren't very convincing. So it was crazy to see that they ended up winning the entire tournament. But yeah,
Yeah, well said. I think that yeah, Qatar just found a way to win though. That was, they didn't win like blowing people out or anything. They just like found a way to win.
yeah,
Um,
honestly, they deserved it, but
yeah.
just surprising,
Okay, so then January 30th, we went to this game.
right?
Uzbekistan,
Yeah,
Thailand. It was pretty interesting.
it was a
Um,
good game actually. Yeah,
yeah. What are your thoughts?
yeah, there's some nice goals. Uzbekistan took the lead. Then yeah, the first half was like fairly quiet, not too much action. But then second half, Supachuk scored a really nice goal for Thailand, and then suddenly it was a game. But then like yeah, just 7 minutes later, then Uzbekistan's young star Fazulaev scored a really nice goal. So there were some nice goals in this game, and the second half really got exciting. But yeah, uh, eventually Uzbekistan won, and it was pretty deserved, I think.
Yeah, I think that's well said. The next game of the day, unfortunately, we didn't have tickets to this one, but it was Saudi Arabia, Korea. So that's all you.
Yeah,
We were watching that game together in the hotel room.
yeah, we saw this one on your iPad, I believe,
Yes.
and
Oh,
um,
Paramount Plus,
yeah,
guys.
absolutely insane game. Yeah, I thought it was over honestly because we just weren't playing very well, but somehow we scored a 99th minute equalizer and then won in penalties, and so that was not good for my heart, but it was definitely one of the most memorable games for me. Um, in recent times at least. So yeah,
And Roberto Mancini leaving, when it was 3-2, uh,
yeah,
Korea was up in penalties. We were both shocked, but what's your reaction to that on a
yeah.
like serious note?
That just shows like a lack of respect, and yeah, I'd be surprised if he was still the Saudi manager. I can't remember whether they announced anything about that, but yeah, I don't think I think he's just done. And uh, yeah, you don't want a manager like that on your team. So
Yeah, that's well said. It's like even though, he's a guy with a lot of experience and, can help out the Saudis, it doesn't seem like he's all in.
yeah, exactly, and that sounded very similar to a certain coach that was the coach of Korea in this tournament. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm quickly looking up to see if Roberto Mancini has been fired or anything, but no, he's still watching some of these like Saudi games. There's videos of him.
that's
Uh,
very interesting.
Apparently he actually met with Amir Ghalanoui 3 days ago. Interesting.
It's very random, but
There, yeah. Ghalanoui, I think, um he went to Saudi Arabia for the Sepahan game. He just joined them, like
oh, I see.
because he was a longtime Sepahan coach, I believe. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
he just took a free trip. Okay. Um, Bahrain versus Japan. We were there.
we were there. Yep. Not
Honest,
really much to
yeah,
talk about in that
honestly,
one.
Japan dominated. Could have been like they hit the post once or something. Could have been like 4-1.
Yeah, and Bahrain's goal was like just a bad own
Horrendous,
goal. So
horrendous, horrendous. Yeah.
then now, and then we were obviously at this one, Iran,
Oh,
Syria,
yeah.
and
This The
It's all
attendance,
you.
by the way, don't let the attendance for this fool you. As we saw, there were so many people asking us for tickets, and there were so many people outside. So some of these
Yeah,
attendances, like this stadium's capacity was 10K, and honestly, there would have been like 50K people interested, maybe.
definitely. I'm
Um,
not sure why they played in that stadium, but the atmosphere was pretty good, so
yeah, of course.
maybe that's why.
We got that Iran gets that lucky penalty in the 34th minute where Taremi was nowhere near the goal, but they fouled him. Um, Then Iran had a lot of chances to put away the game. They didn't. Syria got a penalty, which was well deserved. It was a penalty. Um,
When was Taremi's red card? Was it before or after that penalty?
his pen or his red was in the 90th, I think.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Uh,
Yeah.
so as we saw, Taremi dived right in front of us. No disagreement on that. That was a simulation, and that was a yellow card. And then, um, we didn't play defense well, so the old center back, Rusbek Cheshmi, was the only guy left. And Taremi did not trust Rusbek Cheshmi enough because, Syria had this like fast break attack, counter attack.
Yeah.
Took the card, he took the red, and yeah, same here. When we got the red against Syria, I'm like, okay, we're in big, big trouble. Um, Iran literally said after the game that their game plan after the red was just to bring it to penalties. They made all their penalties though, so credit to them. That was a crazy game to go to, but it's 1-1 was not good. Like looking back on it, it's not a good result. Um,
Yeah, honestly, I feel like it's just a classic um the classic way that Syria's manager plays, like Hector Cooper.
yeah,
He's an Argentinian manager, and he was also the manager of Egypt for a while. And they kind of play this like defensive style football um that just kept working somehow, you know? And so it nearly worked for Syria in this one too. They nearly got it done, even if they weren't the better team. So they were just like a stingy defensive side.
yep, that's well said. Um, yeah, against respect to Syria too, they played well against
Yeah,
Australia. They played well against Uzbekistan. They played well every game. They gave it their best shot. So, you guys can be Syrian fans can be proud. Seriously. Um,
agreed. Yeah.
Then a few days off, we go to Tajikistan versus Jordan. I we weren't at this game. I don't really have too much to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the goal was an own goal. Didn't really, I don't think we were able to watch this one really, but
Yeah,
um, yeah.
this this
And
was
then, yeah,
the guy that played for Persepolis. And it's so sad too because he scored that goal against UAE, and we were pretty excited about that. But um,
yeah, he had a good tournament overall though. He was solid.
yeah, he was very, very solid. But hey, Tajikistan had a great run. They gave it their best effort. Um,
Yeah, definitely
we
can be proud for sure.
for sure. So, and then the next game of the day, which we ended up going to, of course, we got some last minute tickets, thankfully. Uh,
Yeah.
Australia, Korea. We didn't sit together for this one because we just got found two random tickets pretty much. So it was fun to be at the game though.
Yeah, just
Uh,
thankful to be at the game.
that's all you, man. What are your thoughts? Because I wasn't even sitting next to you, so we weren't talking about this one too much.
Right. Yeah,
So
it was a tough game at first. Like we just did not look like we were going to score. Australia had like two or three good chances to add to their lead. But then
yeah,
Son basically just did everything. Like he earned the penalty, and then Hwang Hee-chan scored the penalty in the 96th minute. And yeah, that before that penalty was taken, it was just so nerve-wracking. But thankfully, he smashed it home. And then Son free kick, to win the game. That was
yeah,
amazing to see
of,
in person. And
yeah,
again, just not good for the heart, though. Not just after the Saudi game to go to a game like that. It was just
yeah,
it was two back to back, really, yeah, really painful, but thankfully it ended in joy. So
Yeah,
Yeah, just crazy games overall.
we had different seats, and I was near the Korea sideline, um, down there. It was interesting to watch because that's where Korea was attacking for the whole second half.
Yeah,
Um, Australia has those really, really tall guys. Um,
yeah, they have Harry Suter that I'm like 6'5", like center back.
yeah,
Yeah, he was really good. But also like we were playing long balls into right at him, so it was like we were
yeah,
not
exactly, exactly.
we did not have any good tactics or any
Um,
tactics really to deal with that. But
yeah,
thankfully, we have a world class player and someone to that carried us in that game. So,
yeah. No, in Australia, they have the famous Riley McGree.
oh yeah,
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 the
fan
running
favorite in Qatar,
fan
Riley
favorite.
McGree.
The running joke being, for people that you guys don't know, we went to the Australia Uzbekistan game as we talked about, and at some of these games they would bring school children, which was very kind of them because the tickets are like literally only a few dollars, so you can bring all these classes. But these kids are like random kids screaming Riley McGree. So since that game, Riley McGree has become he's been a fan favorite and one of our personal favorites.
Yeah,
Um,
for some reason those kids just really loved Riley McGree's name and just kept yelling it over and over again. So that was interesting. But I mean, he is a good player, but it's just a little random.
um, Yeah, no. But Australia, of course, they had this one play, one header that, the goal was pretty open. I don't know if it was like 80th minute or so, if you remember that one.
Yeah, yeah, that was a really good chance, and that probably would have just ended our Asian Cup. And
Um,
honestly, it might have just been better to end it there, but oh
oh,
well.
um, no, but Australia didn't put the game away, so credit to Korea for coming back, and that was a crazy finish. Good, so good for Korea. And then Australia, they got, a really stupid red card, which I like. They just ended their chances of winning right after the Sun goal, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, that pretty much ended it all. So
Yeah, that was a dangerous tackle, though. Well deserved. So just an idiotic play. That's all I can say, at least. Um,
yeah, but on to the last game of that we saw of the Asian Cup.
yeah, so we went to
Iran,
Iran.
Japan.
Yes, sir. That was the last day we were there. I still think now looking back on it, just Japan really wasn't playing well. Iran was solid. They changed their lineup a little and they went Mohebi on right winger as a right winger, and they went, they had left backs. They changed it up. Instead of Haj Safi, they went with Mohammedi.
Yeah.
Um, Trying to think who else they had. Oh no, I'm sorry. They had Mohebi left wing, I think, and then Jahan Bash right wing.
Yeah, because Gaetti was on the bench or something, I think.
You're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Mohebi scored. He played well. We went with like a more physical, bigger lineup, and honestly, after the goal, which was just a defensive collapse, we played pretty well. We had a decent amount of chances, but Japan, I still don't understand what was up with Japan.
Yeah, you just
I,
outran them and outworked them. Like the entire second half was just all Iran.
Uh, yeah, I mean, 2-1, Iran won. That's a huge win, but Japan again, I can't say they were playing great. Um,
Yeah.
um, and then so we got about 4 minutes left in this in the Zoom. So if you
Yeah,
want,
the rest of the
yeah,
tournament is just gonna be
let's
us being in pain because
yeah. So Qatar quickly they won this game in penalties that we were watching the penalty part together at least, and there were some bad penalties by Uzbekistan.
yeah,
Um, yeah, that's all I have to say. Do you have anything to say for this one?
nah, not really.
Okay. Then yeah, so we got about 4 minutes. If you want to talk about the Jordan Korea game, and then I'll talk about Iran Qatar, and then you can wrap it up after with Qatar Jordan.
That sounds good. Yeah, there's not much to say about this game. It was just a painful game. Jordan dominated us. We just played terrible. We had like 70% possession, zero shots on target, and Just like a really disappointing way to end your tournament after uh, two amazing dramatic performances in the round of 16 and quarterfinals. So, but there's a lot going on. There's some off-field incidents with Son Heung-min and Lee Gang-in, and Klinsmann also, he just wasn't a good coach. Unfortunately, I'm sure he's a decent guy, but he just wasn't the right coach for us. And, we ended up sacking him, and now we're at the end of February, so we're looking for a new manager. But yeah, just it just feels like a waste of a tournament because of Klinsmann, basically. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I think from the beginning, I watched that game and Jordan, they had a lot of energy. They came out with a lot of energy, which they always do in all these games. They come out firing. They didn't get a goal until the 53rd minute, but yeah, I mean, Korea had like a few chances at the end of the first half or in the first half. After that,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's just poor preparation from Klinsmann, in my opinion.
yep, yep,
We already
yep,
played Jordan once, and we knew how Jordan played, but
yep.
we didn't adapt at all. So it was just disappointing.
Yeah, that's well said. Um, and then of course, Iran, Qatar. Iran, Azmoun got a fourth-minute goal. And Qatar opened up after there were a decent amount of chances where, if Rodos has, he plays one more ball correctly, maybe, they have a one-on-one attack, but didn't work. Qatar answered in the 17th minute with a deflection goal. Akram Afif, 43rd minute. We had four defenders around him not doing anything. Um,
Amazing goal, though.
Amazing goal. Yeah. I think similar to what you said, they just didn't really like game plan well because like Afif was kind of tearing us up, and I don't know why the defense was, maybe they were more passive or whatever, they were tired. Anyway, man, I mean, Iran
Yeah,
gave it their
just
best effort, but yeah, so we got less than a minute in the Zoom. If you wanna just, I didn't even wake up for the final, didn't watch the final. I have
oh
nothing to
yeah.
say.
I simultaneously watched it with a Tottenham game because Son was playing at the same time.
Okay.
But yeah, just overall, Qatar deserved to win. Even with all the penalties, I think they deserve to win. Can't really deny that. But yeah, overall, great Asian Cup. Painful way for it to end for both of us, but yeah, it was a great experience overall.
Yep, had a lot of fun with you in Qatar. Had a lot of fun going to these games.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, happy to share our experiences with you guys. Um, okay, guys. So that'll be the end of this